Change is one of the most difficult things that we face, but change is inevitable. One reason we don't like change is we get comfortable where we are. We get used to our friends, our job, the place we live, and even if it's not perfect, we accept it because it's familiar. And what happens is because we're not willing to change, we get stuck in what God used to do instead of moving forward into what God is about to do.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lynn County Recovery Outreach Podcast.
Way to be a douche. Just cut right in.
Hey, well, it works.
This is Breaking Anonymity. This is the podcast where the person being interviewed gets to break their own anonymity and give the viewers something about their life and explain what they went through. And today we are interviewing Adam Rice.
Way to break my anonymity, bro. I'm supposed to do it.
You want to introduce yourself?
No, you already did it. It's okay now. Jeez.
Well, you came on this show to break your own anonymity. I figured that was kind of like...
It's going to be in the title, bro.
Right.
It's
Your name is going to be literally in the title, so...
So can we cuss?
Yes,
Fuck
you
it.
can.
I think you started off the last one with that question.
Yeah.
I like that question.
So, Adam, a little bit about yourself.
Fuck.
It doesn't mean you need to open up with a cuss.
So where are you from?
From Colombia. Well, I was born in Mexico.
Mexico. Oh, so you're Mexican?
Built that wall.
All right.
No, Mexico, Missouri. I grew up in Colombia, which is where I got in most of my trouble. And then I moved up here a couple years ago because the city was like, nah, we're not going to let you out unless you move. So I moved up here, 35, got a 10-year-old daughter.
Where is up here? Where did you move to up here?
Chillicothe, Missouri.
Right on.
So there's all kind of one area, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, Chillicothe, Brookfield, Trenton.
Well, collectively, you've got like, what, 20,000 people?
I think each county is about 13,000. I think the biggest county is Livingston with like 15. And so together you have like 45,000 between three counties.
Yeah.
So Columbia is like 120,000 just in the city limits.
Right. So it's kind of a change for you then.
It's a huge change. Like, dude, when I first moved up here, I needed to go to the get some like prescription or something like that. It was like a Sunday, 4 o'clock on a Sunday. Shit's open at 4 o'clock on a Sunday. So I'm like, oh, we need to go get this prescription. And my grandma was like, no, they're closed. That's fucking weird. It's 4 o'clock. Yep, they close at like 1 on Sundays. It closes at like 2 on Saturdays. And I was like, this is strange, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's normal, you know? So, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
So with the topic that you just brought up, about it became normal.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us about, how you got started and how it became normal?
Like Chillicothe, just this small
No,
town
like, well, I mean, we are on a podcast about recovery, so what I mean about
life.
starting and why don't you give us a rundown of your drug use, how you got started and how it became normal. And
Okay. Well, I mean, I started using it at a young age, like, fucking terrible.
I know.
Anyway, I started using it at a young age, but it was just drinking, stealing fucking wine out of my mom's boxed wine thing.
Yeah.
Because who checks that? There's no, like, measurement gauge. You're just like, And I'd steal a couple cigarettes from the cigarette pack or something, for my buddies having a sleepover. And then, just through high school, I was a weekend warrior. I played football. I would smoke weed on the weekends, drink. And then, then as I got older, like I got put on Ambien. And that shit was really fun to take. If you made yourself stay up on it, like you would hallucinate. Like I remember we had this... I used to work at the mall, so I stole Victoria's Secret, had those big life-size posters of the models, you know what I mean? Like the cardboard, the good shit, right? Like there was no flapping to this. It was solid. I'd have it in my room. It's like 6 feet tall. And so I took an Ambien, and I'm fucking sitting there, and me and my buddy are playing seesaw on the fucking floor, because that's what it does to you.
Yeah.
And she just starts fucking talking to me, and her boobs start moving, and it was... So anyway, I started experimenting with that, and then I started doing cocaine. and that's just kind of how it progressed, you know. And then when I got in my 20s, I had a surgery and on my shoulder, and they gave me Percocet. And they gave me a lot of fucking Percocet. You know, this was in the early 2000s, like 2006. So that's when Oxycontin.
They were just dumping it
Oh
on
yeah,
everyone.
Oxycontin was like, fucking just let's promote the shit out of
Yeah.
it. And they were like, oh, Percocet is fucking wonderful, and it's not really
Even
bad.
had the rappers promoting it.
Yeah. It's a Seagram's gin. So yeah, so I did that for a while, and I was like, this, right? And at this point, I'd already done meth, and you know, I'd stopped myself from taking that. So, you know, I was under the impression that I could just stop whenever I wanted. But the truth is that I was just switching, right? Like, so I drank like a fucking fish. So then I'd stop drinking, I'd start doing meth. And then I'd stop meth, and then I'd switch back to drinking.
So by the time that you had gotten to the point where you had been prescribed oxycodone,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
was it codone? By the time that you had gotten to oxycodone, had your drinking progressed from where you were whenever you were younger? I mean, because I'm speaking from personal experience here. Whenever I started using, it wasn't just a boom.
Oh yeah,
No.
it was a
Yeah.
progression. Yeah, definitely. At that point, I had not tried to stop anything, so it just kept getting worse with the next thing. Like, you know, in high school, it was I would drink on the weekends, and I would drink till I blacked out, or I'd drink till I throw up. I would drive home drunk. I mean, I remember throwing up at stoplights on the way home at 2:30 in the morning, and but then when I got into my 20s, and I'd already, you know, done cocaine and pretty severely for a short period of time, and then I switched over and I'd done meth for pretty severely for a short period of time. Yeah, my drinking had become a everyday, right? Not in the mornings, you know, it would like during the work week, but it was every day when I got home from work. And I would, you know, those big, like 32-ounce cups, I would drink E&J because I was fucking broke, right? And E&J's cheap. I get E&J and like Diet Coke. And I would just, one big ass cup was just mostly E&J and like a splash of Diet Coke. And that's what I would drink. And I'd drink 2 or 3 of those at night, pass the fuck out, wake up the next morning and go to work. And that's just kind of what I did, you know? But then when I got on like the painkillers, that's when it was like, dude, that was wonderful, man. That was a feeling you don't feel. Because it doesn't just take away physical pain, it takes away all pain, like emotional pain. And so then that's what you want, you know? And even at that point, it was just painkillers. It wasn't a whole lot. But then I remember I got hurt doing something else, and there was a question on whether I really needed surgery or not to repair it. Well, you know, at the time, I'm like, oh, let's do the surgery. I want it done right, you know, because that's, but, you know, now I look back, I'm like, no, motherfucker, like, you wanted to get high, right? Like, that's what I look back and I'm like, no, I wanted the surgery. When they were giving me the option of, well, we could try this and just see what happens, or we're going to do surgery. No, give me the surgery.
Well, isn't it crazy to see, you know, and look back at it and think of the shit we did to get high?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Because, see, but here's the thing is that if you have the surgery and you're prescribed the medication,
You think it's okay.
it's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Now I have a
that's a
reason.
misconception.
You have a doctor's note that
Yeah.
says so.
Yeah, he says, oh, I can be fucked up.
He says I need it, and he's a professional.
Right.
Yeah.
He
And that's the
went
way
to,
people interpret it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, he went to 8 years of, you know,
Med school.
med school, so that way he could tell you that you're okay to get fucked up.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you're right. You know, and then you trick yourself into thinking that it's just for this period of time. You know, because I need this.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
you know, I've needed surgeries in my life.
But do you
now.
really though?
Yeah, that one I didn't need.
Yeah.
So how did it progress into knowing you were addicted and knowing that you had a problem?
I think it got to that point, like after I got with my second wife and we had my daughter, and so anyway, we were living on our own, and my mom was paying, she would give me money to pay for daycare, right? Because we couldn't afford to pay for daycare. But I was spending my own money to buy pain pills from the streets, you know, because I didn't have a prescription. And that's at the point when it was like, okay, you know, like I'm still, you know what I mean? Like I'm taking from my mom to feed this addiction. And, but I still wouldn't do anything about it because that's mine, right? Like this is how I deal with issues, so.
So was that the moment at which you kind of realized, like, I have a problem?
I think internally, right, and I think externally, I said it, you know, But at the time, I was still just I was just still popping pills, right? And nothing like crazy, not like Oxy 80s or anything like that. It was just Percocet 10s or 5s or 20, just a little shit.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, but I need to go to the methadone clinic, right? Because I don't want to go through withdrawal. And you do go through a little withdrawal off of that. I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's not the greatest thing ever, but I could have taken Ativan from a doctor for a week and been fine, but no. So I chose the methadone clinic, because, and that was my first trip through the methadone clinic.
How'd you hear about the methadone clinic?
So I had the buddy that I actually was getting the pills from had, it turned out that like he was stealing from me, because it would always like, the dude ran out on him or he's whatever, stories.
Yeah.
And so it turned out that it was him that was doing it, and
shocker.
Yeah, right. that was some shocking shit. So, but he was like, hey, this is what I'm in, and it's altered my life for the better, right? And dude, at the time, he had a way worse condition than I did, and so, but I was like, yeah, well, let me try that then. Let me do that, because he was like, oh, you don't go through withdrawals, and you can change your life around. I'm working again, and all it is this. So that's what I did. I did that for, I think, a year the first time, and then I was going to nursing school at that point, and like my second wife and I were going through some issues, and she had moved, and so then we got a divorce. We were going through that process. And I started using before then, because I stopped going to the methadone clinic like right at nursing school, right? Because I'm like, I can't be trying to go get my methadone each day and go to nursing school and clinicals and all of this, and what if they test me, and what if, you know what I mean?
So that first time getting off of the methadone, was it?
So it wasn't, because they weaned me off at the place.
It wasn't what?
Wasn't hard?
No. Well, but the reason why is because literally, as they started weaning me off, I started using painkillers again,
So you were switching seats on the Titanic.
Yeah, because my buddy, the same buddy that told me about the methadone clinic, like to get into it, was like, hey, it's going to be hard on you getting off of methadone. Here's my buddy that's still doing pain pills, and he had Dilaudid, right?
Oh.
That's a huge step up from what I was taking before I went to the methadone clinic. He's like, here's his number. You can get from him to help you taper off. But we don't taper, right? I don't taper.
Sure we do. We taper in the opposite direction that we should.
So there was no right. So there was no tapering. So then
we taper up.
And so this time, and this is where, like, so you see the true progression in like addiction, and we talk about it all the time. Some people don't see it. It's progressively worse each time. So I get done with this stint of clean time, and this is within 6 months of getting off this methadone. The first time I was shooting up Dilaudid. That was, so it started with just popping Dilaudid and then snorting Dilaudid, and then, the oxys you could shoot still, doing those, the OCs. And then I remember one night, a guy's shooting up, and I'm like, man, I wonder what that feels like, and he's like, no, you don't wonder what it feels like. I was like, no, I want to try it, man. I want to try it. And he's like, all right, man, I'll do it, and I'm like, and I did it, and it was the greatest rush I've ever had from a Dilaudid ever. And I'm like, God, these are so much better shooting up. Like, fuck snorting them. Like, this is the way to go. Yeah. And it just opened up a whole nother can of worms, where now you're paying more money because you're having to do more because you're shooting it and it doesn't last as long. And then I started stealing more money from my mom and running up like debt on credit cards and stuff like that, taking out cash loans and cash advances on credit cards that were in both of our names, and just destroying her credit, destroying her everything she'd worked for, and but I didn't care.
And now all while you were going to nursing school?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I made it till, I think I had 1 semester left in nursing school, and I finally ran into a teacher that was like, what's going on? Because I can tell something's going on. You leave for clinicals, you're all fucking drained and down, and you look kind of sick. You come back, you're all perked up and amped up. And it wasn't always because I had scored and gotten high. It usually wasn't, because I was too afraid to get high at the hospital, during clinicals. It was because I'd given money to the guy, the dope man, to give me shit while I was on the quick lunch break.
Which is a high in itself,
right?
Yeah.
Because now you're thinking of when you're going to get high in 2.5 hours when you get done with clinicals. So you come back and you're like, like, yeah, you're jacked. You know, you're ready. You got enough in you, enough in your tank to fucking make it those 2.5 hours. And that's what she was noticing. And so she just didn't let me slide on shit. She didn't kick me from the class or anything. I'd gotten sick during one of the tests. I was dope sick. And so I was going to throw up. And they had a policy, like, you can't leave the room, even go to the bathroom while you're taking these tests, you know. And she wasn't there that day. It was a substitute or whatever. And I was like, I got to throw up. And she's like, that was it. If you left the room, you didn't get to come back in and finish the test. You had to take it another date, and you lost 10%. You automatically got knocked 10% on the test. So that's what happened. And I didn't pass that class by like, I think you had to have a 75% total, and I had a 74.95.
Wow.
Wow. So you were less than 1% away.
Yeah, less than 0.1% away.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
And but it's just little shit like that. Like, she knew that she could think, but that's good now. At the time, I was heartbroken. You know, like, oh my god, dude, I would have sucked as a nurse because I would have been stealing fucking drugs from
and
the
at the time, I bet you were like, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
She could fuck that bitch, you know.
Yeah.
And then looking back on it, you're probably like, she was really just trying to help me. Yeah. So had you progressed on to anything harder at that point? Because I mean, for everybody that's watching this right now, we all in here are pretty good friends. So I mean, I know your story somewhat.
Yeah.
You know?
No, so when I started shooting Dilaudid, then that got expensive because they were fucking, I can't remember, like $20 a pill, 25. I can't remember what we bought them for back then.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not really important. But anyway, it was expensive. And so then my buddy's like, you know, I can get heroin. And then you're like, okay. And then you start snorting heroin. And then you start shooting heroin. So, yeah, I was on heroin at that point. Dropped my douche flute. So I was on heroin at that point. And I was shooting up heroin. And as a matter of fact, while I was in nursing school, it's right here. It's kind of hard to see. But there's a scar on my elbow there, because I was new to shooting up, you know. And I caused a MRSA infection from shooting up bad.
Ooh.
And so I had to have, they had to cut it out and drain it, and I had to do a wet to dry pack for like 6 weeks. And I was in nursing school at the time, but just, you know, this.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny story. I'll tell you real quick. So I used to donate plasma. Shout out to all you plasma donors out there. There's a lot of us to get high. And so anyway, I was doing that, and then I went to nursing school, and I had this huge wound, and you can't hide that shit, like fucking gauze hanging out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, look at what happened to me, you know. They're like, oh my God, what was it? It was a MRSA infection, you know. And they're like, what happened? I was like, well, I donated plasma, you know, and they use these huge fucking needles. And I'm like, they must have used, you know, a bad stick or something like that. Well, one of the guys in class with me worked at the plasma donor center and was like, I don't think that's what that was. Shut up, Todd! That's what it was. Like, fucking sit up there just like, son of a bitch. I forgot about that part of this. I didn't remember that he worked there, you know? So needless to say, I think he never bought that bullshit.
Oh,
but,
yeah. I doubt it. Did anyone else?
No, well, yeah, but see, what fucked me up was that they were like, you should sue them and they should pay for it. And I'm like, no, it's cool. Like a normal person would have been like, no, they're going to pay for this, you know? And I'm like, nah, we'll be okay. So, yeah, I think a lot of people just pass it off because why is there a heroin addict in nursing school? Like, that just doesn't add up, right? You know?
And most of the time, we're the only ones that believe our own bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's
You know,
no doubt.
but no,
Yeah.
but
The whole
so-
room could have known.
Yeah,
you know?
but no one called me on it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So maybe that's the true part of it, is nobody called me on it. But a lot of times, you know, people who don't deal with addiction just don't see it.
That's true.
They think
That's
something's
true.
off.
It's
They
not
think
that they're
something's
blind.
weird.
It's just, they just don't see it because they don't know what to look for. We see it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Even
now
now,
Dustin over here could be walking down the street and 4 miles away there's somebody over there on drugs.
Like,
and
that guy's high.
He's like, I think that person way over there is
What does he
high.
say? He says it's in the eyes.
Yeah.
guys.
It is in the eyes, man.
It's like, I don't even see anybody.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's fucking high.
It's in the eyes. It's in the eyes.
Screw a pee test, man. I just look at the eyes.
Yeah,
I can
PNP
tell you.
just needs to hire Dustin.
I've been that way since I was younger. I told my mom one time when she was dating this guy and was just kind of seeing him, and I was like, that guy's high. Turned out he was on methadone.
Really?
And she's like, how did you know that? I'm like, fuck, look at his eyes. You know, and I had never even done methadone at that point. I just knew he was on something, you know. At that point, I couldn't name the drug. Now I can name the drug. I'm like, oh, that's that, and that's that.
He's on meth, he's on heroin,
Yeah.
he's on methadone,
Yeah.
yeah. Them motherfuckers on Xanax.
They're smoking crack.
Yeah.
I'm scared to death to be around you with my fucking eyes open. I'm like, oh shit. What are we
Yeah, don't come around me high. I'll call you out on it.
So then what made you want to change then? I mean, because we've heard,
None of
your
that
horror
shit.
stories, like we've heard the war stories. I mean, and in all honesty, as addicts, we sit around sometimes and we don't really realize that we're glorifying it. But, play the tape all the way through. Like, what happened? What happened that made you want to change? What happened that made you feel a strong enough urge to want to be changed, Because it's a hard thing to do. Kind of like in that little clip that we played. It's hard.
And see, that's the thing is like, so this last progression, I don't even think it gives by far the worst. I almost died several times.
How'd you almost die several times?
So I overdosed
Well,
12
tell us
times.
about that.
12 times. And I got brought back to life with Narcan. Fuck everyone that thinks that you shouldn't give it after like 3 times or something, like 12 times. So I mean, it's whatever. But and then car accidents. I had in my addiction this in the last before I got clean. I had 5 major car accidents. I think it was 4 or 5. And then the last one, I almost killed the passenger. I almost killed myself. But I didn't change. So the last time I was in a wheelchair, I had to learn to walk again. I had several surgeries over it. And I'm sitting there and, I had to do rehab up here in Chillicothe because I couldn't stay at my house down in Columbia. And got them off.
Well.
Did you get them?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
So anyway, I was up here, and then as soon as I started walking again, I'm like, oh, I worked at Apex for like a month, and it hurt like a motherfucker. It was painful to do. But anyway, I had enough money.
You were in a wheelchair working at Apex?
No, I started walking again.
Oh, okay.
That's just after I learned to walk again.
Right.
It was just really painful, and it hurts standing that long. But so I was like, I got to go back to Columbia because, I got to reunite with my daughter and and get my life back together because Columbia is the place to do it. And I did.
Right.
As soon as I got back down there, I'm on the phone with the dope man, like, selling dope and doing dope and just meth at this point. Like, because see, my problem wasn't meth, it was heroin.
Well, of course.
Yeah, that's what overdose, and that's what, all these things were, and that's not true. But, so then I got arrested, and I was in jail for 3 months. And I don't even know if that motivated me to change, right? Because I wanted, as soon as they dropped my bond, and they're like, we're going to let you out, And my mom's like, I can't come and get you till Monday, and this was like Friday night. I'm on the phone with my dope man, like, hey, bro, like, I got $500 towards my bond. If you'll come and get me out, I'll make the money up for you over the weekend, blah, 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 blah. And because I wanted to get out and get high. And that didn't happen. My mom came and got me the next day, fortunately. But I still hadn't changed that thinking. The 3 months in jail gave me clarity of mind a little bit. Like,
So wait, you were in jail at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in jail for 3 months for distribution. That's what I was charged with. And
See, most people think that going to jail for an addict is a good thing. Well, that's not the place. You just meet hookups.
Dude.
It's a horrible place for an addict.
I met some dudes in there, and one, they're like, man, it's good to meet a white dude that's gonna stand on his time and shit. Dude, it's like fucking camp. Like, I'm like, it's kind of shitty being inside. You can't smoke cigarettes, but fuck, I sit here, I read books all day. This is fucking awesome. Like, shower when I want to, wake up when I want to. You know what I mean? Just every once in a while they fuck with you, and that's about it. And met great fucking hookups. They're like, dude, I can get it for this much, and I can do it for this much, and I got this many people that buy it, but I don't fuck with it. And
well,
I'm like,
and I'll get on my soapbox for just a second here. Incarcerating drug users is not the way to go because people want to punish them. And that is the common belief in the United States that we should punish drug users. And in reality, the thing about it is drug users, yes, they may be criminals, but most of the time when a drug user is a criminal and they're making and committing criminal acts, it's because they're trying to fund their drug use.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the thing about it is you don't need to look at it as a criminal, we don't need to we don't need to fix a criminal. We need to fix a behavioral health issue.
Right.
You have somebody that's getting high because and there's a huge argument out there about whether or not it's a choice or not. And the thing about it is it's a choice the first time you get high. And personally, I've lost 14 different friends from drug overdose, and I don't think that it was their choice to die. You know, I don't think it was their choice. Like,
No.
you know, so punishing them and putting them in a pen and for 23 hours a day is not what we need to do.
Yeah.
You know, sorry for getting on my little soapbox here.
No,
but
I totally
I-
agree.
I
Yeah.
am completely against it. I think that we should more so focus towards rehabilitation for these people, you know. Put violent offenders in where violent offenders need to be. If that's what we need to do, fine, get it. But whenever it comes to non-violent offenders, such as drug users, stuff like that, we don't need to punish them. I mean, yeah, okay, punish them for what it's worth, but don't punish them for being an
Yeah.
addict, you know.
No, because like my arrest for distribution, it was a gram of meth and a scale, right? Gram of meth and a scale, and I was facing 15 years in prison.
See, and that's ridiculous.
So for something that weighs less than a fucking nickel, right? Like 1/5 the weight of a nickel, 15 years of my life. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's bullshit. I think it's, call the argument however you want. I think it's both. I think it's a choice and a disease. I think it's, a choice maybe the first time we use, but then you don't know you're an addict. So is it,
Right.
really a choice to become an addict?
Right.
No, it's not. It's a disease that you struggle with. But once you're in recovery, and you keep doing that fucking roller coaster shit, those are choices.
Well, it's kind of like the whole, and I use this one a lot because I see it online a lot, and I'm pretty sure that I've tagged you in a little Facebook argument that I've gotten in with some people about how, addiction's a choice and this, that, and the other thing, and my reply is this, So if addiction's a choice, then so is type 2 diabetes, because what you do to get type 2 diabetes is you consume massive amounts of sugar in your body. Your
it's one
pancreas,
way, yeah.
Your pancreas quits creating insulin, and so therefore you have to put synthetic insulin into your body so that way your body can process the sugar. Well, if that's the case, wouldn't diabetes be a choice too? Because they made the choice to put this massive amount of sugar into their body, so. And maybe it wasn't the first time, maybe it wasn't the second time or the third time, and that's kind of the way that
consistently.
addiction works,
But that's the thing that
Or
people.
lung cancer, cirrhosis of the liver.
COPD, heart
Speaking of lung
disease.
cancer, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
You're welcome for that. So, exactly. The point is that, it can be both, right? Because every day our choices affect our health, right? We know this, right? Like how you eat.
Yes, they do.
How you exercise. Do you exercise? Do you take the stairs? Do you take the elevator?
Does it look like I
Every
take the
day.
stairs?
No, but that's not my purpose at this point. But my point is that it's just we always make the choices every day, and your choices affect your health all the time.
Yeah.
And so, but to say that, it's not a disease because you chose to do it is complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah.
Because now you're negating anything else that you do that's considered a disease, but it's based off of choices that you've made, like smoking or eating, or maybe you worked in a fucking coal mine and you got,
Black lung.
I think a lot of the people that say that it's not a choice and rant on Facebook and do that, I think they got
It's not
some
a choice, or that it
resentments
is
towards,
a
or
choice.
that it is a choice and that it's not a disease. I think that they
like a family
have some
member.
resentments towards a family member, towards somebody that maybe hurt them, maybe
I still
stole
think
from them,
you
maybe
said that
did
wrong.
something.
But I think we all know what you're talking about, but I still think you said that wrong.
Well-
that it is a choice.
They try to argue that it's a choice, not a
Yeah.
disease.
Yeah.
Argue that it's
Yeah.
a choice, not a disease.
Or there's just arrogant people out there that just are, they're willfully ignorant to everything else that's going on around them. They don't want to hear any other argument.
Or they just don't know. I mean, because I think that's part of a big part of what that is that they don't have the knowledge that I mean, because a lot of the times you talk to somebody and they've either got a family member that's addicted, been addicted, they've been through addiction themselves or something like that, and so they have a little bit of knowledge about it, but they don't have the knowledge that is needed to actually say, because I'm gonna be honest with you, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, it's they have classified it as a disease,
Yep.
and they're experts in that, and I mean, I'm not anywhere close to an expert,
Yeah.
but I know enough about it to be able to tell you that I think it's a disease.
Yeah.
And that's, but that's the argument we face. And that's fine. I don't, I used to get worked up about the argument. Now it's just like, I'll point out, like the argument you point out, I'll use that. I'll use it rationally if they want to listen. It's like, okay. Like, I don't care, as far as that goes.
And
Like,
that's something you learn in recovery,
yeah. You
and
just
that's
wanna-
and I think, honestly, I think that we should kind of throw this out there. That's kind of why we're we're doing this podcast is so that way we can help change the stigma on what addiction actually is.
Yeah.
You know, kind of maybe help give somebody maybe some resources or some to the knowledge that needs to be known whenever dealing with somebody that is addicted or you're addicted yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then show them. And another thing is that, like, dude, it's scary being an addict, right? Like, especially when you're in active addiction, because remember at the beginning, change is scary. Change
It
is
is.
uncomfortable. And so you're sitting there, and here it is, and yeah, maybe you're hurting everyone around you, and your life's falling around it's falling down around you, but you have your drug, and it makes you feel good, so everything must be good. And I don't want to step outside this bubble because of the physical withdrawals that I'm going to face, or the mental withdrawals that I'm going to face. I don't want that change.
Or even the physical withdrawals that you're going to face,
Yeah.
because, I mean, this is going to lead me into my next question for you, but, the change that you have to make towards, your people, places, and things, you have to change everything. Kind of like it said in that little clip, if you don't have room for the new to come in because you're holding on to the old, you're never gonna see the change that you want to. So my question for you is kind of this. I asked you earlier, what made you want to change? So what actually helped you follow through with that? Like, what actually got you to the point where you saw that change was actually possible?
How'd you find recovery?
Okay, well, so again, it wasn't jail. I mean, I think jail just gave me the time to think about it and reflect, and then recognize that I had lost a lot of things and destroyed a lot of people around me, and so it was changing everything. So they made my home plan. I was on bond supervision. They said, you have to go to Chillicothe and live with your mom and grandma, and which I didn't have anything. I didn't have a car, I didn't have property, and I didn't have nothing. So it was like, okay, it'll get me out of here, And so it was moving up here, and then I didn't have freedom to just go wherever I wanted to because I didn't have a car, and I didn't have money, and it's not like they kept me locked in the house or anything. I had a job in Brookfield here, and every day they would drive me to Brookfield, drop me off, take me home. Then so it was just those steps, right? It was that I was cut off from all of my old people, right? And I was 2 hours away from all of my old locations. And then I was on bond supervision where I had to call in every week and check in with them. And then I had my mom and my grandma in the house. And so, I mean, I just had, it was just this, super strict support system around me with a lot of compassion because my grandma and my mom, they loved me to death. And I don't think I would have done it without them. But it was coming up here and then getting into preferred, doing outpatient through there, and then I started going to meetings when I met you guys. Those are my first. Like I've gone to a meeting or two in Columbia. I don't really count it because I was probably fucked up when I went. But these are the first ones I went to in recovery, and then I started getting amped up. I was like, oh, okay, here's some dudes that are cool. I mean, I thought fucking Dustin was. I love this story, man. I thought he was like a 40-year-old, 50-year-old, fucking like long-haired, fucking surf rack on his fucking car.
When I called you?
Yeah, when I talked to him on the phone, he's like, hey,
in his
man.
VW bus.
Yeah, I thought he had a Volkswagen bus. I just had this picture.
Yeah.
And then this motherfucker's in front of me all of a sudden. I'm like, that's not what I imagined. This is the fucking hippie, and this wasn't. So, but yeah, we started doing that, and I think it was probably 3 months before I did anything with LCRO because, I was working all the time and I didn't have a car and your meetings were at a really fucked up time, It's the same time it is now. but yeah, so it was that. It was that just connection through Suzanne at Preferred that kind of sparked my recovery. At the time I was making it through, right? I was doing what I had to do to look good for court. Yeah, like I got a job within 2 weeks. Says this will look good for court, and I started looking into going to school again because this will look good for court, and it's something to do. I'm fucking bored.
Yeah.
And then I'll do outpatient treatment because this will look good for court, right? So those were my thinking. That was my thinking habits at the time, and maybe they were flawed. It was flawed reasoning, right, on why I should do it, but it worked. And so that's why when people are like, man, like when people are like, well, yeah, I was clean, like my 3 months in county. Some people, well, that doesn't count. No, it fucking counts. Maybe it's
Right.
fucked up reasoning why you were clean or why you started going to meetings. Maybe it's because PMP made you do it. But they count. Because at
you
some
faked
point,
it till you made it.
yeah, at
Yeah.
some point, and that does work, man. I'm not saying it works for everybody. My way is certainly not the fucking perfect way to do it. You know, it worked for me,
It worked for you, yeah.
so it's perfect for me.
So
you
it
know,
matters.
and that's everyone's story is different. You know,
Right. I
So-
mean, you fake it till you make it. A lot of people do that, you know. But go ahead.
Yeah, but you got to make it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole thing.
Well,
you can't just keep faking it.
You gotta
man.
stick around until
someone
you make
should
it.
tell my
so-
girlfriend that. just.
He's sorry, Haley.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Well, you're gonna end up single for
That
10
is the
minutes
girlfriend
again.
you wanted to give me a shout out to, right?
You're gonna end up single
Now
for 10
I'm in
minutes.
trouble.
Yeah.
Well, you are whenever she sees this video.
So what's some of the stuff you do in recovery to stay sober?
All right.
Yeah,
So
where are you now?
now I'm here. No.
Oh.
Son of a bitch. No. So I started off making a fucking banner for LCRO. That was it, right? And I don't know why I remember that so vividly.
That was your first job, huh?
First job, making that fucking banner.
Yeah.
And
You did a good job, man.
yeah,
We still use that
we
banner
still use
today.
that banner. It's the only banner we got.
Yeah.
Made the banner, and so then.
Although our logo has changed.
Yeah, logo's changed a little bit. But it's still similar. You know, there's a fucking butterfly.
Hey, hint, Adam, you need to get on that making another
Need
banner.
a new banner,
You
yeah.
can vote that in on the next meeting. But then, like, I don't know. It was like taking minutes, you know. And we're like, I'm just when I see something, I'm like, okay, well, can we do it differently, or can we do it better or more effectively? And you know, my grandma worked DAR. She's the regent of that, like the president. And so I read through their bylaws, and so we started talking about all these things, making bylaws, articles of incorporation, becoming a corporation.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I'll do that. You know, let me do it. And then, let me take minutes, you know, and then let me rewrite these and create this brochure and create the fly. I mean, but I had time, right? I had time. And so that's what I started doing. But it was just by, you know, what we talk about is like giving back, you know, and we only keep what we have by giving it away. And it's by those actions, you know, and that's service work to me, you know.
Yeah.
It's giving back to the people in my community and my friends. And, you know, we don't get paid for this shit.
So, I mean, within your first month or two with LCRO, you got voted into secretary. You made our banner.
Made the banner.
And you started taking some awesome minutes.
Minutes.
You got us incorporated, the state of
Incorporated,
Missouri. And then you
501c3.
501c3, got us tax exempt.
Made those
And
shitty brochures.
Made those shitty brochures. So, yeah, you did. You cost us some money on that, didn't you?
Oh, I like
man,
those
we got 'em.
brochures.
Yeah.
Well, we
but
got the brochures for free?
Yeah, we got them because,
Okay.
but yeah.
They had
Exactly.
nothing on the inside of that.
Yeah. Kind of like our
He
souls.
forgot to send the PDF file of the
Of the
inside.
complete thing, right? So it was just an outside. They're like, we ordered 500 of them. I think
So
it
they
was.
weren't brochures; they were more flyers than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Expensive flyers. It was-
Expensive flyers. Really nicely done flyers. And then we got involved in the Crossfire Christmas. You want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, that was awesome, man. We one of our members said, hey, we should do something to give back to the kids, you know, caught in the crossfire. And then I think the original idea was like a fucking, what was it? Like
It was
a
something.
potluck.
Yeah, we were going to do something just
With
for
a
our kids, for the
drawing.
people in our organization that have gotten their kids back, and just something to give back to
Yeah.
the kids that have been caught in the crossfires at no fault of their own.
Right.
through
And it
addiction.
turned into a lot more.
It turned into something
Which
completely
was
bigger.
awesome.
And, you know, Adam, I got to give you props, man.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
With-
And
yeah.
we ain't going to be able to do it again without you. So
Hey,
you're
that
locked
Sounds
in.
like a job for
I
I
Kendrick.
think we need to have him sign a contract stating that we've got him for like 10 years
10
on
years.
this.
I was thinking 10 years,
dude,
too.
I'm down. If we can do a verbal contract right now. It's on video.
So what you do is you spend the money to Skype me into each meeting. Like put the laptop up and
Or you could just teach your boy how to do it. You know. I mean.
But we still need him in the meetings.
Yeah.
you
Oh
know.
well. Yeah, I agree.
No, I
But
mean-
So, Crossfire Christmas. Explain
Crossfire
it some more.
Christmas. So then we met with a lady from Macon, but not even a lady. She's a high school student who did an event for foster kids.
A
And-
high school student.
high
That
school
was
student, yeah.
That was amazing.
yeah.
I know she's an amazing person, and Kendrick went to her event, and
Yeah.
it was
cool.
It was on fire.
It was really cool.
This
yeah.
little girl does it all on her own.
And she
well,
was
her family helps.
she was
I think.
only like 16, wasn't she?
when she did her first one. She was 17 the second time.
Yeah. Okay.
But her parents are foster parents, you know, and so that's what she knows. So all of her friends, you know what I mean. So she has a help, kind of like how we had help, you know. But she kind of was the leader of it, like kind of what I did.
Yeah.
So at 17, she was doing that, and that's a lot, man. And so basically, I just stole, like that letter that we sent out, you know, I kind of stole her format and reworded it to fit our organization, as I'm all about, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know?
Right.
But so then we got 12 foster families, and we did it for their kids and the kids that they took into their home, and we got Walmart to donate, Hy-Vee to donate. We got all these corporations to donate to us. Casey's,
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
My worker donated some. They
Yeah,
donated
your work
100
donated
bucks.
some.
There was
you know.
some other businesses on Main Street.
Yep.
You know, it was pretty cool.
The community
Sheridan
really
Valley.
all pitched in. I mean,
Yeah.
It was
and,
amazing.
and that was all of it went to the kids. You know,
Yeah. And we gave out, like, we had drawings. We got them tablets, like 5 tablets for drawings. Each kid got.
Which, in a way, you know, like I think that was kind of a collective effort from the whole group.
Yeah.
it
kinda-
definitely was.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, like in all honesty, like you had a lot to play in that.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, Adam orchestrated it, but everybody pitched in.
Yeah,
dude.
I
mean, there was-
orchestrated
dude,
it, but-
everybody in the organization was
Yeah.
awesome
And
with
people
that.
in the community came, you know, like James made the games, you know, and me and you went shopping, you know, and I mean, we all played a huge role in it.
Imagine that. Dustin and Adam went shopping.
Oh my, dude, it was horrible. I hate shopping and shopping for. You'd think going and buying toys was fun, you know, but. And I've spoke to a few of the kids and skateboards, dude. This one kid says
Yeah,
skateboards,
yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, skateboards.
See?
Didn't even think about that.
You know what the good part about the shopping trip though was, is that remember we were in Target, and I was uncomfortable in there because I caught a stealing charge from a Target once, and so I'm like, ugh, am I supposed to be here? Whatever. Apparently I can be in that one anyway, but it's so relevant to the story. But the guy, remember I was on the phone and I was talking, and I was like, you know, this girl, you know, her name's Riley. I'll just first names only, but I'm like, oh, I need your help here. I'm trying to get toys, and this guy just randomly hears about the event we're hosting, and we're in St. Joe.
Yeah.
And he's like, here's $20. I want to donate to your organization. Overheard you on the phone, and I'm like,
That's
dude, that's
awesome.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm, you know, an hour and a half. We're, you know, an hour and a half
Yeah.
away from even what we're doing this at, and this guy's like, here's $20 for the kids. So.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. We did that, and you know, I lost my beard in the process, which turns out to.
I lost my hair.
Yeah, but you got it back, you know.
Yeah.
My beard stayed.
Oh,
on
it was so worth it.
Yeah.
Dude, just see the smile on those kids' faces again. I'll shave my head any
The
day.
look on your face in that picture that another member sent me.
Who, me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You had this
When you
look
shaved
on
your beard?
face.
Oh, God.
Said Adam's mad. And you had this look like,
Dude, that was a saving grace because, you know, now that the beard's gone, like, it's so
Yeah.
different, dude. It's better,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I finally
you
got a
learn something
girlfriend.
about yourself. Yeah, exactly.
She's like, okay. Yeah, no, right. So that's changed, right? We don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Dude, I hated it, man. When it got shaved off, I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Put it back on me. But then now I'm like, I like it. You know, it's
Yeah.
short. It looks fine. But anyway, we did that. But then it's on to the next thing, you know, and we're doing. I think before that we did the balloon festival. We did.
we did a lot. We did parades. and
parades.
We did the balloon festival. We did what was that, Pershing Days?
He's probably spent $500 on candy for the parades last
Oh
year.
man! But we learn. We learn from each event, and we say, okay, how are we going to do this differently? How are we going to, you know?
The parades are awesome.
If
Yeah.
anybody has a candy hookup,
Let us know.
yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so then we did the foster family Christmas. What did we do after that? Yeah, what did we do after that?
Well, I remember after that we steadily go speak at schools.
Yeah, we always.
Yes.
see
Why don't you
schools.
tell us a little bit about the Chillicothe Alternative, because you're kind of the one that orchestrated that too.
Yeah.
That was awesome. There's actually Pastor Frankie gave me someone's number that said they wanted us to come and speak. And there's a lady there at Chillicothe at the alternative school that she had a mentoring thing the year before and kind of wanted something like that. And so all of us signed up, like basically to come whenever we could. And so like just about for the entire school year, like for 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, we went and talked. You know, and I think we were pretty consistent with that. You know, I think there's a couple times where we missed like 3 weeks or something. But
Well, and there's some other things that were going on, and
yeah.
we weren't allowed to be there, and which is really cool because I mean I know personally, like I see those people that we
All the time.
all the time. I mean, I've been walking through Walmart and had some of those kids that we spoke to come up to me and just, hey.
We've seen
Yeah.
a few at the pool.
Yeah. And then one of the teachers works at the pool.
Two of them.
Two of them, yeah.
Two of them, yeah.
And so you see these people, and they're like, "When are you coming back? What you did was awesome." I remember the last time we came and spoke. Unfortunately, it was just me and Dustin there, but they made us a cake.
Yeah.
And we had a card and
My
balloons.
teeth were blue for like an hour afterwards.
Yeah.
From
But I
that
mean,
cake.
just this show just signs of appreciation like that.
Yes, it was awesome.
And honestly, I guarantee you, I got more out of it than those kids did.
Yeah.
Just because I can appreciate those things, and I mean, when you're a teenager, I remember being a teenager. I didn't see the true value in some things,
Yeah.
And but they want us to come back next year.
Right.
So I mean, these are just continuing things we get to do, and then like speaking at the schools.
Well, you I know this sounds silly, but you plant the seed to let it grow. They say be as strong as a mustard seed, or however the little saying goes. But you planted the seed. We've
It's
we've
the
planted
faith
the
of a
seed.
mustard seed.
The faith of a
It's from
mustard
the Bible.
seed. Whatever. You know what I'm speaking on.
Yeah, I get
and
I still don't get it, but okay.
Okay. Well, let me draw you a picture.
No, I got you.
You
There's
couldn't even
mustard
explain
seed.
it right. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Don't go biblical on us.
Hey, it is what it is. Teach their own.
Yeah.
And
The
that's
faith
not
of a
mine,
mustard
so-
seed is strong enough for, that's...
It has nothing to do with faith, what I was trying to say, but you basically
So mustard
sow
seed,
the
okay.
seed to reap the rewards later, and
Right.
you sowed that seed for those kids. So
That's true, and I think but that's just. I mean, that's what it was. Is that just by being selfless? I mean, you get so much more out of it than
Yeah.
you probably ever give out. And but it keeps you busy, right? You don't have time
That's
to
a
get
big
high
thing.
when
Yeah.
you're when you're doing all these
Keeps
things.
you accountable too,
Yeah.
You know that you got to go sit in front of those kids again,
Yeah.
and you're not going to talk to them about staying off drugs if you're on them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It does help me more than, and I hope we help them, and they seem to like it, even if it's just because they get out of class, still it helps them vent, I think a lot of them got some shit off their shoulders. And what I liked is I grew up in, I went to an alternative school, and I wish I had that,
Really, you think it would have helped?
Oh, big time, dude. And the whole thing that we tried telling those kids is being in a tight-knit group like that and letting your story out when they finally did, is every other kid there got to kind of hear their story, and they're like, well, shit, man, I didn't know you were going through that. Now I understand why
Right.
you were angry the other day. Now I understand why, and I think it made them
Or they can relate
closer.
to each other and
Exactly.
say, "Oh, I'm doing this. I'm going through the same thing.
Well,
My dad did that
exactly.
to me, or
And-
my
Yep.
whatever."
And well, in all honesty, part of it that I love personally is I had to write a paper at one point in time about the correlation between drug use and the anti-drug use presentations. And in 2011, marijuana use was at its peak for kids grades 9 through 12. And in 2011, it was at its low peak for preventative drug presentations. And so you see a correlation, and correlation doesn't mean causation, but you see a correlation of whenever you don't do anti-drug presentations, you see a spike in kids using drugs. And I mean, in all honesty, personally, I feel that maybe we're doing some good, we might not.
No, I
but-
think, just to help, you guys out with that is that I spoke with someone that liked the Brookfield School, and I know we've only been there once to speak, and I didn't go to that one, but she said that, after you guys spoke there, that for weeks afterwards, the kids were talking about it. Like, it was a buzz, like they were asking questions. And that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to solve the world's issues in a 1 hour presentation or 2 hour presentation. We're not going to
Sometimes
answer
3 or
every
4.
question. We're not going to change permanently kids' lives. But we're going to plant the seed. We're going to get them to talk about it. We're going to get them to ask the counselors about questions, and they're going to get them to research them. That's what we do, is we start a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do,
Right.
and then you can let all the other supporting roles take over from there.
Well, it's kind of like whenever a kid, and something that's been a huge issue here recently in our area has been suicide. Whenever you have a kid that's talking about suicide, you don't, contrary to popular belief, you want to talk about that. You want to talk about that.
And it's so
not
taboo,
something
right?
people believe that it's something that's going to cause kids to want to do it. But in reality, what it's doing is opening the door to let them know that they're okay to come to you and talk to you about it.
And I think letting them know that what they're going through is
They're not alone.
real, that it's not
Yeah.
it's not false. It's not just oh you're just young, you're just
Right.
and we have this misconception with young kids. We always try to tell them what they should be doing and what
they
you
should
need
be
to do
feeling.
is you need to go to college after school. You need to do and the whole thing, they can do what they want. They can, hey, you don't have to do it my way. You don't have to, and what you're feeling is real. What you're going through is real.
To each their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, and that's. And
But
that's the
dying
same
it
thing
down
with
as,
drugs.
you're just going through puberty, and that's what a lot of parents do. A lot of people do.
Right. Or you're not really in love, or you don't really.
Yeah.
They're not validating their feelings, or they're not justifying it. And so the same thing happens with drugs, where we say just don't do drugs.
Yeah.
We're all.
Oh, yeah. Just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah,
And you're
the
like,
great
oh.
Nancy Reagan campaign. Let's get that going again,
Join
And it's
Nancy
the drums
Reagan's
going
Merry
on
Band of
Dude,
Winners.
because drugs are curious. Drugs are.
Yeah.
Really, that's
And
interesting.
like you said, I know it's hard for a lot of people in recovery to hear, saying something like, getting on opiates was the bee's knees. It was awesome at first, but it because it numbs you, because but then it turns to hell real quick. Thanks for that, buddy.
I had to, man. I'm sorry. Yes, right.
Yeah.
What you're saying. Yeah, it's. I don't even know where we're going with that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
I know
much
where
that.
the smoke was going.
But anyway, so back to topic. Something else that you do is you're also the president of another nonprofit
Yeah.
organization. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Scales Sober Living House in Trenton. We're a men's only sober living house.
Which we need some clients right now if anybody is in that area and looking for residency.
Yeah, free plug right here. But yeah, it's it's
I think we're trying to
not
get
like
away from
that.
the plug,
I mean, like product plug.
Yeah.
This, you know,
That's
we're
a
getting
great
that
sober living
plug
house. It
lock
really
on,
is.
Yeah. We have a residential manager that lives on the facilities, and
It has what, like 28 years of sobriety?
so I think 22, something like that, 28. And so he lives there, and it's it's like $50 a week for the clients. We do random UAs. They have to go. They have structure that they have to follow. Like there's a curfew at 10 o'clock. You have to go to so many self-help groups. I mean, it's structured, right? So when they get out of rehab or something like that, or they're trying to find their foothold in recovery, or they get out of DOC, like here's a chance, here's something where you can live. You'll be around people that are in recovery. I mean, the people that run it, the board. You're on the board. I mean, it's recovering addicts. We've been through it. We've suffered it. We understand. We're compassionate about it, but we just don't take any bullshit about it either.
Yeah.
And it's nonprofit too. We're not meant to make a profit, so. Yeah, it's an awesome thing, and that's what keeps my recovery going. It's just stuff like that, and it's from meeting you guys. I mean, it was from getting involved with you guys, and
Well, you're welcome, buddy.
yeah, thanks, man. No, that's serious. But that's what it took, because, I thought I had friends and stuff in my addiction, and I didn't. I had acquaintances, I had characters in a play. But I didn't have any support structure there. Now I do. Now I have people I can really talk to, if I'm struggling with something or having relationship issues, and I can get a different perspective, or even if there's infighting with us, we get frustrated with each other sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
but we can still calm down, fucking talk about it,
Yeah.
and then it's,
Well, there's times where I really don't like my sponsor, and I'm pretty sure that you don't like your
Yeah.
sponsor sometimes either. So
and it happens, man, but it's still love afterwards. It's like you
the
feel
things
hurt.
said. Well, the things said are meant to be said out of caring, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
that's the
happens.
truth. It's what we need. We can't coddle an addict. I mean, because we want to do what we want to do, and
When we want to do it.
when we want to do it.
you can coddle an addict, but it's not going to get you anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. I got something you can coddle.
Whoa, bro! Left turn.
I
Take
figured
that
it's
back
about
in
the
the right
end of
field a
this, so I
little
figured
bit.
we'd just cut off with that.
Yeah, and podcast is over. Kendrick's
get
got
under the
something to
table
coddle.
Anyway, so
So, I mean, you are part of 12-step meetings, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
do AA and I go to NA and.
What's your take on that?
Dude, you know, I think they're beneficial, man. I mean, like, because once you actually read the steps and, you know, however you work them, you know, I'm not going to say write it on a paper and to each their own.
yeah, to each their own.
But work the steps, you know, and get a sponsor and get a support system around you. And it's beneficial, you know, going to these meetings and meeting these new people and getting to know them and dealing with them in recovery type events. Because the 12 steps are just lifestyle change, right? And we talked about this earlier. It's just behavioral change. You know, it's not, you know, it's not like if you go and you read the 12 steps at an AA meeting, it's, you know, dealing with, you know, admitted that we were powerless over alcohol. If you go to the one in NA, it says admitting that we were powerless over drugs and that alcohol is a drug. And then if you go to gambling, you know, the Gambling Anonymous, it's admitting we were
It's
powerless
just
over
changing that one word, yeah.
Yeah, and it's same 12 steps. Maybe they have a different workbook. Maybe they have different stories in the big book, you know, because they're stories that pertain to gambling or pertain to drugs. It's the same. It's essentially the same thing. You change a word, change one verb. You know, I guess it's a noun. I don't know, but
Anyway.
yeah, irrelevant. So, yeah, change a word, and then here's your 12 steps. Same thing. And you know, like you got us that book.
Yeah.
I mean, that Russell Brand book.
Russell Brand.
And-
Which, by the way, Russell, if you watch this, we would love to have you on the show. So.
Dude, I like the way he rewrote them. You
Yeah,
know?
I do too.
I wish we
I
had
love that
here.
book.
What happened, like what's this step one? Like
Admitting that we
Admitting
were
that-
fucked up.
admitting that you
admitting
were
we're
fucked.
And
Yeah.
then number two, admitting that someone else could unfuck us, right? And then step three is like becoming willing to let them unfuck us, or something. Just you know.
And the way he puts it is just,
And
It's
like
just a
what,
simplified way,
yeah,
yeah.
step four is like you know.
it's just a lighter-hearted way
How
of looking at
fucked
the
are
steps.
we? I think it's step four,
Yeah.
because that's what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Taking your moral inventory, you
Yeah.
know, a fearless moral inventory of yourselves. And the funny thing about step four is that, you know, when you read it and you read fearless moral inventory, then everybody thinks that this should be the same. Well, but it says you take a fearless moral inventory of yourselves. Well, we have different morals. Every single one of us. You know, maybe you think cheating's okay. Maybe so when you take your moral inventory, if you ever cheated on a
Don't you
spouse.
put that evil on me, Robert.
Just using an example, but you get my point. Like,
Yeah.
so you might find that okay. Your morality's not affected by that. Well, then it wouldn't be on your list. It'd be
Right.
on, you know, maybe it'd be on my list, or maybe, I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is that it's not. That's why, you know, part of it's you shouldn't take other people's moral inventory, because you're taking your moral inventory of them, but that's not the same thing, you know.
It's easier to take other people's
No,
inventory,
dude, I'm
though.
awesome at it.
Yeah.
I already got
Well,
your
I
guys
mean-
written up.
Well, you know, and to be completely honest with you, like, I think that not just that book, but the 12 steps in general could be beneficial to anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. And
Not an
Addict or not, man. It's
well, I think that we all somewhat have an addictive.
Oh, dude, nowadays, I mean, who out there is addicted to this?
Not
Who out there is addicted to their
me.
phone?
Not
Yeah,
I,
right, Adam.
bro. Like,
I mean, Facebook,
Yeah, Adam-
everything, anything that gives you self-gratification for a small amount of time is just, we got that locked in.
never on my phone, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna take a little bit of Adam's inventory here. He wasn't on it the whole time that Dustin and I set all of this shit up.
No, dude, like I was supervising. Like we've already just decided
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
good at this, right?
Hey, you know what? It's what it is. It's a good. You know, you're the guest. What it is.
So back to what you're doing now. I know you go to self-help groups. I
Yeah.
know that you're part of 2 nonprofits, and that's just what you do for fun, right?
Right.
That's just
my
what you do
So
on the
what are you
side.
doing? Yeah, what are you doing for your life?
Okay,
For
so
your life.
like I just got my associate's degree at North Central,
Yeah.
Woo woo.
right?
Yeah.